to the God is a Geek podcast. Oh, Adam Cook here. My voice went a little bit high. Not sure why, but I've rhymed now, and that's not a crime. Oh God, I can't stop. Adam Carroll, help me.
Oh no. Hi?
Come on, that's not... Come on.
Well, I can't...
Up,
You're putting me into a rap territory here.
But I didn't mean to do it. I genuinely didn't mean that to happen.
Like,
well, I didn't.
what?
No,
You
that's
put
not
me-
true.
I was
Like,
just
by the time I
sitting here-
realised I was doing it, I went, actually, let's see what I can do with this. Ran out and then went to you.
You did fine. It wasn't the time.
Thank you. Oh.
That's all I got.
Gary
no
Bailey,
more lines.
are you... Ada, hang on, Gary,
come
just
on.
pretend you haven't heard your name. What rhymes with Bailey?
Haley?
It's fine. Gary Bailey, how are you today? Have you got a ukulele?
Wait.
It doesn't work. But, well, maybe it works. Gary, have you got a ukulele?
You could have asked if I still hate ukulele.
I want to be positive. Have you got a ukulele?
I haven't got a ukulele.
No,
I've
Gary,
got zero
Gary,
musical
Gary,
talent.
Gary, think about it. Have you got a ukulele, Gary?
I can't rhyme for shit.
Exactly, guys.
Leave me out-
exactly.
leave me
it's
out of
really
this.
fucking difficult.
This sickness
What-
that you've
know,
brought on.
When you're
us.
expecting just to say hello, I'm good, how are you, and then you get thrown to lay down some fat old rhymes and you can't do it.
Like, I'm sorry, this is neither of your first appearance on the God is a Geek podcast. You know damn well I do not just say, hello, this is a podcast, these are the people. You know
Yeah, but
that.
we also
Yeah,
know
but you're
that
not
you don't
Eminem
normally
either.
rhyme. You don't normally throw in rhymes and shit.
Alright, Adam, I'm not Eminem.
Yeah,
Yes, okay. That's a fair comment.
8
I
Mile
don't
the sequel
think-
starring Adam Cook. All right.
I don't think there's a segue from I'm not Eminem to Blair Witch, but we are talking about this. We say this a lot because the games never seem to go away. But my God, are there games? And I am going to very briefly say, as I tweeted, if you are not on youtube.com/GodIsAGeek listening to it here, we are now available on Spotify, which is something I think is really cool, and I'm really happy about that. So listen on Spotify if you want, or on it doesn't matter where you listen as long as you're listening. And if you're not hearing this. But if you're not on our YouTube channel this past sort of last week or so, wow, we put up some content and we're great. And I'm just going to say that, and I know that's arrogant. That's arrogant. But it's true in this case. Just this one, it's the few times I will get rid of my humble kind of Adam Cookness and just say, I'm really proud of God as a Geek this past sort of couple of weeks. August, in fact. Let's just say August. All the time. Sod it. All the time. Blair Witch was announced. Was it announced at E3?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it just because I
What
remember.
was it?
I remember watching the.
Thinking it was Silent Hill or something.
Yeah, that was it.
No, I remember
was
we were thinking it was Blair Witch, but it can't be Blair Witch. It was announced at E3.
Yeah, it was
This
during the
E3.
Microsoft conference. It was
Absolutely.
It just came on. Here's this trailer. I was like, what the fuck's this? And then suddenly Blair Witch. Like, oh, awesome.
So you've finished it. You've reviewed it. The video review and the written review are up on both on godisageek.com and youtube.com/godisageek. I've played an hour of it. I refuse to play any more of it. I resent that I had to scare myself to record video footage. But Gaz, you loved it.
I did. I really loved it. It's one of the things, like, I said to you, like, I apologise. Like, initially I was recording some footage, but you decided to go for it. And I'm kind of glad you did, because you kind of get it a little bit now. But, like, I apologise, because the start was just me kind of fumbling around trying to find where to go.
Well, I was kind of half expecting, like, this game, I was expecting this game to be set in the dark. And it doesn't start that way. But I was constantly sort of on edge thinking, when is it, you know?
Yeah. That's one of the best things I think about this game is that it's not all set in the dark. There are a couple of moments where it goes back to light, but you never feel like you can relax, because even when you're in the daylight, there's always this weird ambience in the in the ambience if you want.
No, thank you.
In
thank you.
in the
I like
in
that. Can you do it one more time for me?
the ambience.
Thank you.
There you go.
Very nice.
Do you want me to whisper it?
Please.
No, I'm not going to
Yes.
whisper.
Yeah. No.
No, please.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, please.
Ambience.
All right.
It loses something. Now I've gone creepy.
No. Hang on. Forget the fact we're talking about games a minute. I want to try something, Gary. If you could do that one more time, we're going to do the best perfume advert ever. So just do exactly what you did.
Okay, let's go. Ambience.
By Bailey. There you go. That's coming to stores near you. Blair Witch is... you touched on something in your review, right, that really hammered home even in the hour I played, and I think Adam Carroll, as a massive horror fan, is going to appreciate this.
Yeah.
You touched on how it kind of... Because the original film, I remember importing the VHS of that in '99 and having to take a video recorder with me, because if I remember correctly, American VHSs were slightly bigger or smaller than English ones. So it was a real palaver to watch this, but we watched it all. It was kind of the whole... Well, not teens, we were adults at the time, but just, watching a movie in the dark sort of thing. And there are things from that you never forget. The kind of... I don't know what that's... The closing shot of the movie, the hut sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's the way that they're framed, the way the camera angles.
Yeah.
And there's a section early where I think the second VHS tape you find, right?
Yeah.
Well, I assume they are linear. The baseball.
I think there are a couple which aren't part of the story that you can find. But yeah, I know
so
what
the
you mean by
baseball
the
one
baseball.
near the trenches, and in the trenches area, there is a bunker of sorts. And as I walked up to it and looked down at it, it felt like I was in the Blair Witch Project. The way it frames itself.
Yep.
To the point where I looked down there and I was like, I don't want to go down any stairs in this game. Because
Did you go down there?
I did, but I couldn't unlock the key. There's like a combination lock, and I couldn't do it. So,
but the one thing that got me with that moment is we've not spoke about it yet, but you've got Bullet with you, the dog.
Of course, the dog. Yeah.
As soon as you start walking down the stairs, he goes, "Stay, Bullet," and you're like, "No, do not leave the dog. Never leave me alone."
Oh, see, I actually pressed stay, Bullet.
Did you? Oh no, he does it automatically. If you don't, I was just like, no, I no, don't make me go down there alone.
Absolutely.
But that I'll be honest, that kind of sums up the whole game. Is that very few games have ever done this to me where I just didn't want to go. It's like you have to go that way. You've got to go that way, but you don't want to. You just really don't want to. And you kind of force yourself to do it, which I think is the mark of a good horror game when it does that. I think one of the best things about this game is it doesn't rely on like shocks and scares and stuff jump scares. It's basically more or less everything in it is just all atmosphere. And there are times it does shit jumps out at you, or something happens anyway. There's the loud noise, etc. But
if you were to guess when I sort of went, nope, that's enough, I don't have to play this, I've got enough, that's it, what would you think you could guess when that would be?
Possibly the tree.
The tree, yeah. Well, the second time you see the tree.
Yeah.
It was just like, nah, I got enough footage for the review.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, do I? I mean, hey.
No. That's what I mean.
That's how
I want to know, right? The big question here for me is, what makes this a Blair Witch game? Like, did it have to be called Blair Witch in order for it to sell, or does it even expand on what is already a very linear narrative? From the movies,
Yeah, I mean, it's because in the movies there was always that lore of people going missing in this forest.
And you got it.
There was always the legends and stuff,
and then it was just the build towards the end in that house. But do they build on, say, something like the beginning of the movie, or is it straight up? There's a really horrible house. This is like the start of Resident Evil 7.
Oh no,
I'm going in.
No, you just start off as you're an ex-cop and you're supposed to be going helping look for this missing child in the Black Hills Forest. Where everything happened in the first film. This is set, I think it was 2 years after the film was supposed to be set. Okay. So everything sort of happened. But when you get there, it's just like the cops have already gone in and started searching, and you go in after them, sort of thing. And there's not really any of that set up. You don't think, oh, this is a Blair Witch game from the start. You know what I mean? But as you play, it starts to throw more and more stuff at you based on that lore. But it's one of those things where you won't have had to have seen the film or films to go, oh, right, I know what's going on here. I mean, to be fair, you might not understand it anyway.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. I mean, like, when Bullet sort of freaks out and won't progress because he's barking at the what do you call them? The twig totem things that you have to grab them and crush them. Like, and also the Polaroids you find. Yeah, I mean, are very like.
I feel like it's one of those things where if you haven't seen the films, you'll still be like, "What the fuck is that?" It's still just going to be.
It made me feel more freaked out because of.
Yeah, because you know what
I know what those things are relating to. And it's kind of like
although
you wouldn't get on a ship called Titanic because you know how that ends, and it's kind of like you see these things and you're like, oh, hang on.
But I will just tease that you might not know what's going on.
I'm not playing it again. Genuinely, I'm not against these kind of games. I don't tend to enjoy them very much, but this seemed like a good one of these.
And that's the thing, though.
I mean, I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. For me, I don't mind tension in a film or a game, but I need the release.
Yeah.
And this game, kind of, I played of it, that I never got the release. It was just constant tension.
I mean,
done very well.
I can't remember how long it was. I want to say 5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think they said it was, actually. The dev said it was.
Yeah, and it wasn't, like, I don't think I ever got that release.
Yeah, see, that reminds me of PT a little bit, in that, like, it's just non-stop tension. Yeah. But they throw a couple of jump scares into, with the baby sort of thing, that does give you some release before then holding you tight again. And I just got the feeling this is never going to let up on me. Because of what it's doing. You are essentially in the woods being chased or attacked by whatever, really, it is. And so because also it looks... Games like this looks quite realistic.
Yes.
Like, the forest look... I mean, I don't know about you, but this really made my graphics card go a bit funny. Like, it made it make a noise I've never heard it make, and it's a 2060, so it shouldn't have, but I don't know if that's because it's not out yet and it's got a patch coming or whatever.
Yeah,
it ran fine.
I think I said to you, didn't I, that I was only getting sort of 30 frames on mine.
So I was getting 60, but it was, like I said, the noise on my GPU, I've never heard. It was like the fan was getting caught, but I don't know. That might be just... That might just be my system. I'm in the middle of mucking around with some bits, but yeah, the realistic-looking lighting and trees, for me, kind of... I'm not, like, scared of being... I mean, I don't want to go and get lost in the dark in the woods with a torch and a dog, but at the same time, it's not nice.
Yeah.
The portrayal of what's happening.
It nails that feeling, though, of, like, just being alone in the woods. And as I said in the review, it does remind me of that first film when they're just wandering around. They're like, wait, have I been here before? You're just kind of wandering around. Sometimes, as I said in the review, it's a bit like, I really could do now with knowing where to go. When you've gone round in circles for a little while, you're like, okay, right, now I need to just find where I'm going. But a lot of the time, it was kind of part of it. You were just feeling like, hang on, I've been here. What the fuck? When there's a point in it, I want to say about midway through, you are actually you're in a camp and then you're like, right, I need to go up here or whatever. There's several directions you can go. You go that way, no matter which way you go, you can end up back at that camp. And it messes with your head.
Okay.
Because it's like, I know I've gone completely away from that. I should not be here again. It really messes with you that way. Sometimes... Oh, go on.
No, sorry, guys. No, continue. Sorry.
Sometimes it is just like you do that, and it's kind of making you feel weird until you go, hang on, there's a tape that I picked up. Sometimes it's that you look at the tape and you're like, wait, there's something in that tape that shows me where I should be going. So then you start looking for the environmental clues. And I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just still end up wandering around and going, I'm getting freaked out now because all the sound and stuff like that from the forest. And sometimes it's Bullet's footsteps, that you're just like, wait, was that something? And then you look down and say, oh no, it's Bullet. Because it's just, the sound's that good, it just makes you feel like there's something always watching you or following you, and messes with your head, something rotten.
There's a thing here that's really interesting about what you're saying, and for me, like when you play the likes of Outlast or Resi 7 and stuff, I feel that kind of horror is terrifying, but it's kind of it's fun. It's kind of like, oh, this is horrendous, but I'll get through it, whatever.
Yeah.
The way that you're both describing Blair Witch sounds like it really got to you. Like Adam, you're straight up saying I'm done with that, and like you just there, guys, then saying when you're lost and all of a sudden you're in the woods.
You know that I mean, Adam, you've done this. I've done this. I don't know if Gary has, but there will be a simile to this. You know when you play in a band, and you're about to go on stage. Mm-hmm. Now there's a moment
where you need to take a shit.
Yeah, some people do. Other people
because I do.
Well, I tell you what, it's similar to the feeling of like you've been to the toilet, but you're going out and you know you're not going to be able to go to the toilet again, and you think, I better have another wee just in case. You went 5 minutes ago. It's nerves. It's fight or flight. It's something based on anxiety. So that moment for me, like going on stage, I was always good on stage. I was always a good performer with the guitarist and the voice sort of thing. I was always, for want of a better phrase, the rock star. Do you know what I mean? And you're the same, 100%. But before you go on stage, you're not that person, okay? You are shitting it. You are scared. You don't tell people, but you are inside. Your stomach's in knots. Like you say, you need to shit.
I definitely did tell my band members. I had to.
No, I mean
I
mean
go
other people.
Before I do
like,
this.
You don't go on stage and say, to people. But what I mean is there's a moment before the release where you are not the same person. This game is like having that feeling, and you never go on stage and let it out. And people say, oh, that was amazing. That feeling never... This is a real odd way of saying... Like I say, talking about the tension,
I get
the pull and the
I get
release,
where you're going.
It never gives you...
And that's...
Like, and I don't like that feeling. I might have been okay with that feeling when I was a younger man, but as someone who is rapidly approaching 40, I do not like the feeling of confrontation. I just want a quiet life. So the feeling of that tension, that stomach in knots, that non-stop burning and twisting of like, I want that to go away. So games like this are never going to be for me. That said, not all games like this make me feel that way.
Yeah. And
that's
just the thing that's like really like kicking me that I can't play it.
As I say, you can't play this, right?
Yeah, and that's like, it really bothers me. And I was only talking to a friend before recording about this, and I was saying, fuck, like if this was out in PS4, because we both PS4s, I was like, we'd have this.
Why isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't like. Because it's not published by Microsoft. It's self-published by Bloober Team. So I wonder if it's just Microsoft.
It's probably
has
going to come
paid...
eventually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because I imagine it's just like they've paid for exclusivity.
But with the buzz, why not just launch it all at once and get the people, like, our reviews out now? It
was their launch day, yeah.
So, I don't know, like, I would love to play this, because this does sound terrifying.
I will say, we don't know how it runs on Xbox.
No, I've not tried it on Xbox yet.
And how much are they charging for it?
Well, it's on Game Pass, but I think it's down as 25 quid.
I'd buy that straight away if I had it on PlayStation.
Yeah. But it seems, I think it's only digital. I've not seen it at all.
Yeah, I think it is.
And even with the name, though, like, they could have just rolled the arse off that, like, they could have just went...
Just looking now, on Steam, it's 10% off for launch, so it would be 25, but it's 22.
But it's so... I mean, one thing, without spoiling anything, is, like, the last hour of this game is some of the most tense I've ever been, and there's a there's a moment in it again I will not say exactly what it is, but there's a moment in it which is like one of the best horror moments I've ever seen, like in games. Words. It works, and it makes you just that feeling, say, like the anxiety and stuff like that. It's like magnified tenfold, and it's just it ramps it up really towards the end, and it's incredibly intense, but it's that good kind of intense, for horror fans sort of thing.
That's it.
That's it. You like that feeling of being scared. You don't, but you do. afterwards, I suppose you do. Once you've calmed down.
I mean, I could have alleviated a lot of the tension if I just took the headphones off. Like that is part of it. The audio is good.
Yeah.
You know,
but that
is part of it.
Yeah, that is one of the best things as well. I keep saying the best things because there's that many of them.
I'm
like,
actually really happy
really
this. I'm really happy this is positive because
I mean there are other people who are saying it's not as good, so it's like we're not the only voice.
But,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But
But I know that. But like, I'm talking to you, and I know you the best. I don't know them, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm going by this verdict.
Yeah, okay, no, that's fair. So if you haven't been playing this, Adam, what have you been playing?
Oh goodness me. Okay, so it's like super early to the point of, as of recording, this game just came out, but Astral Chain. So I'm gonna say this straight up, right? Like, I was excited, and I was like, cool, let's go in for this. This seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. And once that game started, and I got the whole way up, and Adam, you'll know exactly now because you finished it, but you know the whole opening segment, and when Astral Chain first appears on that screen,
Yeah.
all of that game, because that's all I've played. Now, for anyone
Okay.
else who's listening to this right now and has got that game, they have played it as well. To that point, obviously, because it's only the first hour. That, to me, in my head, is my favorite opening to any game this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm just, I got that feeling of just video games. Here we go.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah.
That is just what I got straight away. And I couldn't, there's so many things from that first hour. Now, look, if it dips a small bit, then okay.
It kind of it doesn't really. Like it I'm trying to think. Did you return to the police station yet?
No. So I just got that
so you really are in
banging Team Tune Savior that came on.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
What a song! I was like, oh, this kind of tune, and then
I
it
will
just
say
kept
this:
going.
that is not the best musical moment in the game this year.
Great, because I bought the collector's edition. The CD came with it.
No. It's not the best collection it's not the best musical moment in that game. It's not the best moment in this year. There's a game on this list that has a better musical moment.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, it dips in that you go back to the police station and then you kind of have to learn how to play the game, because at the start it is very much like game,
Well, yeah, but that's that's
fine.
what I want. I need.
I agree.
I've needed this. I
agree.
A lot of the games I've played have been very I don't know, I need that. I needed the magic. There's just there has been great games. I know people have gotten their magic game, but this was just one of those things where I was like, I am instantly feeling this. The weight of the character was so spot on. It was exactly what I wanted. It's not as floaty as. It's not as heavy. Sorry, it's a bit more heavier than Bayonetta. I definitely think that. I'm not getting it exactly the same, but using the controls, right? The ZR for attack is really strange.
Very, yeah. But it
Very
does
strange.
become clear the more you play why it's there. I
Yeah.
put this in my review. But if it was more like direct action, like a Bayonetta, like a DMC, it would make an already complicated, complex control system just unplayable. Like they had to make that concession, because as you get the legions and as you play more of the legions, and you realise that you can actually tell the legions that they can have special moves as well.
Yeah.
It would just be just too complex.
Well, before I give a quick verdict on those legions, just the controls though, the ZR button, yeah, very strange to attack, because I kept pressing Y because I just naturally feel like that's the button.
It's like Control. You keep pressing X to reload. That does take a long time to get used to.
Yeah, I keep doing that.
Yeah. I think not being able to jump is always weird. I don't know if I'm pressing B to dodge.
You can jump, but you obviously haven't got there.
I haven't
yet.
mastered
It's not a
yet.
spoiler, but you can kind of you can Legion jump basically.
Okay. So the legions. Let's hang on. Right, the legions. I got to play with it, and I was like, all right, let's see. I was instantly blown away by how deep all the controls were getting for me at such an early stage, and I was like, holy shit, right, so I'm guiding this thing around with this cursor, and then I can get involved, but then I have to maintain the length of time I have the Legion out, because I don't really understand what really happens there yet. They just kept saying it to me. It was
If you have it out too long or it takes too much damage, it basically goes away on a cooldown. Whereas if you put it away, the cooldown's really quick.
Okay.
Basically.
So just getting a feel of that, and then all of a sudden, like, what came straight into my head then was, like, I was playing this on handheld. I started on handheld, and I was like, this game is running like butter.
Yep.
It is running so smooth. The colours are so just popping. Like, we've all seen what it looked like. Like, everyone knows what Astral Chain looks like if you're into games, you know it's out. But I was like, I think, I like it, but I need to see this for myself. And I'm totally sold. I'm totally sold on how it looks. It's just anime, as you said, and it just hasn't stopped accelerating since I pressed play. I was just like, constant go, like that opening scene when you actually, like, it's in the video review. It's the opening section, and it's just like super fast, and you're like, this is mental straight away. This just feels like platinum. Here we go. Like, and this is all just from 1 hour. Like, it's exactly what I wanted. Like, I cannot believe that this was the game. I'm now just going, I just need to play this right now. I need to play it. I think it just runs incredibly smooth. I'm just really blown away right now, and I hope it stays that way.
If you really enjoy the intro that much, you're not going to suddenly hate it. Like that was how I felt like. There's no way this game can sustain this, but the game just keeps revealing itself to you as like, they actually do go all the way with the investigation stuff. They do,
and that's it. I yet to see that. I have to do all that stuff.
What else? What else have you been playing then?
So I have been playing a bit of Remothered. Now,
okay,
Remothered Tormented Fathers. I'm not going to spend long on this because I'll be honest, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't think it's great. I got it because it was on sale there last week for like $11.99, and I think it's like €30 for me anyway, which is, it's kind of a lot for a game that hasn't. I don't know many people talking about this game, and then with the sequel being announced just recently, I was like, I must check that out. Actually, I always forgot I got it, and it's like listening to you talk about Blair Witch. I'm just like, give me that game instead. You know what I mean? It's like Remothered is just a far poorer version, if I'm honest, of Resi 7. Like the fun bits of being in the house of Resi 7. It's like the main character is literally Jodie Foster from Silence of the Lambs. It is mental. It is just mental. It's set in Italy in this weird ass mansion, and you're this reporter who is trying to figure out the disappearance of a girl, and she goes to this massive gothic-y style manor, goes in to some cranky old man who just gets pissy, and he just gets annoyed very quickly with you when you're just asking a couple of questions. Like, I mean, it just, tensions just go from hello to I fucking hate you, get out of my house, and it's just like,
sounds like LA Noire.
It's kind of, you're just like, Jesus, this is getting really heated, and you get told to leave, but you don't leave. You want to go back and figure this out. And then you go into the house, and from there on, it's just kind of getting around the house, trying to avoid this old man in hilarious circumstances. And you're like, there's a lot of just getting an item and going, oh, look, I have to unclog the bathtub, whatever. Oh, of course, I need this item. There's
always an unclogging something in horror games these days, isn't there?
I know. It's just that kind of, but that's exactly what I mean. It's just kind of, it's that kind of trope that you're just like, fucking hell, I don't like knowing. Horror is supposed to be constantly creative. It's a very hard like genre to do that. I understand, but when it comes to a video game, it's like, why would I know what I need to do here already. I just need to find it, and kind of going around the place, it just becomes old very quickly then, because the tension is just dropping. Because once you know you have to get this, you just have to avoid this dude, and you get items to distract and throw around the place. Look, I know, like, it's very rare that I just kind of would ever shit on a game as much as this. Like, I don't like doing that. But the thing is, when we're coming into such a big season of games, I can't really say that this is essential. Like, if you like horror, give it a try. $30 though, that's a lot. It's a lot, I think, for what is technically a game of 2 years, maybe just a year. I'm not too sure. But I think, I don't know, it could possibly be, as of recording today, if not next week, it's coming out to Switch. So whatever way it comes there, but it's not essential. I don't think I'll truly see it to the end, because I just got so much to play right now that I want to play, and that's that.
Yeah.
But that's just Remote Tormented Fathers. Check it out if you want. There's a sequel announced, so obviously some people want it.
What else have you been playing?
I have just been playing then a small bit of Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales.
Oh, yeah.
That went down in price as well. To be honest, I think that was a game anyway that would be worth the full price of what they're charging.
But like, all these games you're mentioning now, you're buying games when...
I know.
You know
I'm
what
buying
I'm getting
games
at?
and there's games. But the thing is, I've been wanting to play this for quite some time.
Okay.
And it did go down to, like, I think half price or something. So I was like, okay, I'll buy it now, have it in the library, get it the next time, whatever. And it's probably going to be a typical situation now that PlayStation Plus will announce it or something down the line. But anyway, I have it now, and do you know what? With it being The Witcher, I could not start it. And I was like, oh fuck, I got it now, I'm going to have to give this time. So I went in, and I love it. I think it's great.
It's a cracking game.
It's a cracking game, guys. Like, if you love The Witcher, you're just gonna love it. Like, I think Gwent is something that I truly did get into. If anyone ever said to me, card games, do you play them? I'd be like, nope, I don't really. I like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards. But when it comes to playing, I would say Gwent. And probably Hearthstone for a certain period of time. But definitely Gwent the most. I think the stories are really cool. The style looks amazing. Like, there's still... Like, just getting more Gwent and doing it, I was like, oh fuck, I really do like playing this. But then just kind of going around the world and hitting chests and stuff, and the dialogue is all great, the voice acting is great, it's all just there, you know. And it's just another top class entry for the Witcher franchise, I think. And I would love to have it personally on the Switch, because of just I know it sounds ridiculous to say, but
no, I think that one is a game that would be great for Switch.
Yeah, and it would. But honestly, for me, as of right now, it's just more suitable for me if most games can kind of go to the Switch, just with my current living situation. But still, when I get back, every time on the PlayStation, I do throw in another couple of hours into it, and it's a pretty long game, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember how long it was for me.
Yeah, fucking every time it's just going that little bit deeper and deeper, and I'm like, okay, Jesus, I
think it was
not
like
expect this.
I think it was the region of sort of 15 to 20 hours. I think
that's meaty, right. Like for
it's
this type of game.
It's a big game.
Yeah. So looking forward to getting back to that, and I've currently started another game as well that I can't really talk about yet, but eventually I will. But yeah, games are here, lads, big time.
Fair enough. Gaz, what have you been playing apart from Blair Witch?
I've been playing... I started Control.
Okay. I finished Control. I hadn't quite finished it last week, but I finished it now.
I mean, I've played about 2 hours of it.
I don't know how long that game is, because I just kept coming back to it. I couldn't tell you how long it is. I could tell you Astral Chain is around about 20 hours, because I finished it and it had a save file.
Yeah.
But Control, I don't know how long it is. I did enjoy it, though. It's such a good game. But I do, just not to hijack Gary, I want to mention, last week I mentioned that the patch was supposedly going to clear this stuff up. Absolutely didn't.
Right.
Mick gave it an 8. I'd give it an 8.5. I would say if they can address what I think are really, really poor performance issues on an Xbox One X, I would actually probably go near a 9.5. I loved this game, but the performance is that bad.
Yeah, it's been pushing my PC, because I got it on the PC.
Do you have the map issue on PC? because I know that happens on PS4 because Chris White is playing it on PS4 standard. I play it on Xbox One X. So when you hit the map button, sometimes the textures just don't load. Like the map's just translucent.
I've not had any of that so far.
So Chris actually thought it was part, because the game's so weird, he thought it was part of the game. And I was like, no, if you wait, the texture loads in. It needs patching. And it's worrying that, yes, it's been reviewed really well, but it's worrying they haven't mentioned anything about an upcoming performance patch because it needs addressing. I will just stress, I loved the game. I loved the story, the characters. I love the game. I love the gameplay. There are moments in this that will be in my best moments of 2019. In terms of, go on.
Just says, I have seen people say though that it's going to take a while for them to get used to the gameplay. Some people are having
I've had that, but it's more the combat, I think. But everyone seems to sort of be of the same way of saying, as you get into the game more, you unlock more powers. The combat becomes better and better. Whereas, like at the start, it was, I don't know, it felt a bit clumsy at times. It's just there's something a bit awkward. That's because you're kind of
given a gun and that's it.
I think that's it.
And that's not what this game is.
Yeah, I mean, I think where it's sort of hammered home a little bit is like when you fight the first boss. I got killed like a few times. Like it took me a few attempts because I couldn't get my head around the way the combat was supposed to work.
At that point, you do not fully understand. I tell you what it is. I'll be honest with you. I think so many third-person games now are cover shooters. Yeah. Even if you think about it, even Uncharted is about getting behind cover, popping out and shooting.
Yeah.
This is not a cover shooter. You can duck behind cover, but you can't fire when ducked.
No,
you can't fire when you're crouching.
One thing that I do like though is like I've got the I forget what it's called, but basically like the push, is it or something like where you can grab objects and throw them around. Yeah. I do like how you don't really have to be looking at something to grab it.
No, it will pull part of the concrete ground or walls. That was something to you.
That was impressive. Like I was just looking, I was like, it was during that boss battle. I was like, right, I need something to kind of throw because like it kind of throws him off a little bit. I was like, right, I'm going to try. I wasn't looking at it. Just press the bumper, and just like a chunk of concrete comes off the wall.
And you know what? I think that's where the performance issues come from because you're not having to target anything, and because it's the physics in this game are top notch in that like everything exists and feels like it has weight. Even the destruction is ludicrous.
I just wasn't expecting that level of
color
detail.
palette. Honestly, it's nice looking in that respect. But the fact you can literally, if there's nothing near you, you will rip a bit of concrete off of a ceiling, or I think that's probably why the game struggles because it's. So, in terms of keeping its physics real, it's constantly adding more to the world that you're in. I love it. Like I said, I'm not going to say any more than the word maze, and if you've completed it or been to that part of the game, that is probably my favourite bit of any game this year. It is absolutely bonkers. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't work. There's no way that bit should work. It should be hilarious. You should laugh at it and think, what are they doing? But there's quite a few moments in this game that I just there's environmental puzzles that I really appreciate, and I don't want to go into what they are because some of them are a bit later game. One of them's an optional side quest involving a mirror. Gaz, have you played enough to know what the objects of power are? Like, do you understand? Like, there are objects from the real world that have been imbued with some sort of power that make them paranatural.
I've sort of interacted with a couple of them so far. I so kind of get the idea.
So there are some of those that are optional, and some of them are like boss battles, but some of them are just really clever. So this is a very minor spoiler because it's a completely optional quest. But once you've done one of them, the guy who you help out tells you basically, actually, there's a lot more of these objects that are malfunctioning, and that's the side quest. Go and sort these out. Every one of them is different, but there's one that's a traffic light. Okay. And you find the traffic light, and it's emitting, as traffic lights do, red, amber, and, well, it's red, yellow, and green.
Yeah.
And it goes green, and I'm like, okay, so I can enter the room when it's green. So you run in the green, and you've got to get to it, and you can't get to it. And every time it flashes red, it throws you back out the room, and you're like, oh, how did that happen? And I kept doing this, right? And I was like, this is really stupid. I'm in cover. I've jumped behind cover on amber, so it can't see me when it's red. And then I stopped, and I was like, no, wait a minute. Green means go, red means stop, doesn't it? It doesn't mean green is you can come in and red I can't see you. So I ran into the room green. It went amber. I just stopped. Didn't throw me out the room. Went green. Ran closer to it. Amber. Stop. Red. Didn't throw.
I like the
and it's
sound
like
of
that is the kind of. I think this game, and again because of the way you reload your gun or don't, it's like it recharges when you're not using it. Because of the stuff like with the puzzles they do and the environmental stuff, this game, I love it because what it made me do is in a world where, and I'm not having a go at Gears of War 5 because I love Gears, and I'm not having a go at Blair Witch because that was enjoyable. I'm not having a go at any game, but in an era where you can kind of predict how things go. It was really nice to play a game within one of my favourite genres, an action sort of, platformer, shooter, all that sort of stuff, that made me stop and actually think. There were points before it was out where I was like, shit, I don't know what to do, and there's no guides because it's embargoed. And I had to think, and I really appreciate Remedy for that. I think it's their best game, actually.
You're fully going with it.
Yeah, I think it's their best game because, like I said before, whereas before in Alan Wake they nailed the story, but the combat, it's good. It's not brilliant. In this, I think they got brilliant combat, and where it's very cold open, by the end of it, I knew Jessie, I knew her history, I knew what was going on. They do some clever shit that makes you go, what? Oh, like I can't say it, but there's a bit that made me angry, and then something happens. Like, oh no, that's really clever. Yeah, I think it's her best game. I think I think this is what happens to Remedy when a publisher lets them do what they got to do. I reckon 505 publishing it, and they're just like, whatever, do what you got to do, and this is what we get. Sorry, I hijacked that massively, Gary, but I love Control. I really love that game, man.
No, I am enjoying it. It's, like I said, I think it's just I'm still just getting used to the combat, but the rest of it I'm enjoying. I'm like, most of the time, if I play like a kind of action game and it constantly stops you to read shit, I tend to turn off because I'm just like, I don't want to do that, or I'll start ignoring it. But this one,
but you read it in this, don't you?
Yeah, every single thing that I find, and they're all over the place. It's not like there's only one. Yeah, it's not like it's one an area or something like that. There's several, like within I don't know, like the first 20 minutes. But every one I'm like, oh right, I start reading. It's like, oh right, okay, this is happening, and I'm assuming sort of it's a bit like Alan Wake in that respect that you inform the story a bit more. So it's
a kind of game you could complete without collecting all of those, but if you do collect a lot of them, it fills you in on so much.
Yeah, it fills in the gaps.
And I'm the same, mate. I actually interviewed someone at Remedy for a freelance job, and I told the person that exact thing. I normally don't read that stuff, or I read some of that stuff. In this game, I read a lot. Like I found it just like I want to know more because it's so weird.
Yes, I think one of the funniest things I found about the game though is like this shit that happens that you just like, what the hell? And I think like Jessie so early on is like, I know this is just going to be weird, so she just doesn't even kind of bat an eyelid. Like one of the objects of power, I don't know if it's a optional one or whether it's semi-optional. I don't know, but there's one that's kind of throwing stuff at you. And the way it introduces it is you're walking up and you just see a dude get pelted by stuff falling out dead of this doorway.
What power do you get from that one?
I think that was the one when you get the push. So actually, yeah, it must be.
Like the PsyOps power. That one isn't optional. That's a story one. Yeah.
But that it's just the fact that like that happened. This dude just got pelted by like fire extinguishers or something. Just fell down dead out this doorway. She just didn't bat an eyelid. She's just like, oh, okay, and we go.
You know what? Not to spoil, you'll go from thinking, wow, why is she like this, to you'll understand why she's like this.
Okay.
And that, I think, is interesting, because I don't even know that... I think they'd have got away with not doing that, but they don't. They get there. Yeah. I really like... It's hard, because I don't think anyone should gloss over how rough the game is in spots. It looks incredible, but it doesn't run good enough. But it's still probably in my top 3 of this year, I think. I think it might be my number 3 so far. Maybe.
Nice.
Don't know.
Nice.
I really hope you see it through, because if someone on this team doesn't talk to me at the end of the year about the maze section, I'm going to be really upset that I'm spoiling it, but also just talking to myself about it. Like, you have to. It is. it's the best thing Remedy have ever done, I think. What else have you been playing?
It's
a lot this week. Sorry, if anyone wants a short, simple pod.
Yeah,
you love it. They love it.
Yeah, you're not getting when it's. I mean, when this goes up, it's going to be the start of September, isn't it? Basically,
Yep.
And at that point, if you're not expecting chat about games, there's something wrong with you. But yeah, I mean, I've started Man of Medan.
Same.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm saying it.
I really, really want to get back to this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris said it's about 3 hours long. I think.
Yeah, I think it's nearer 4 or 5. I think in the review. It's 3 to 5, but it's replayable as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's like Until Dawn. It's one that you can replay. Things will happen differently. Certain people will die or not, or you'll try and get everyone to survive. That kind of thing. But it's a weird one. Like we were saying sort of before the podcast, it's very much Until Dawn. It plays exactly the same, and when I say exactly the same, I mean it. It's like the controls are identical, the way like the QT scenes and stuff like that all work out. It's exactly the same. It even has the premonition stuff that was in Until Dawn. You know, when you find I can't remember what it was in Until Dawn, but you found certain things that would then sort of give you a hint as to what might happen to a certain character.
I think it was just certain objects.
That might have been it, yeah. Whereas this one, it's like pictures on the wall, you know, and you've got, I think it's white frame ones and black frame ones. I can't remember if black.
There's red ones as well, isn't there?
I can't remember now. But it's like ones will show you the death of a character. Ones will show you a sort of a pivotal moment, which you kind of like, oh, if I get that right, someone's going to survive, or they'll survive that moment anyway. But I don't know, the opening is interesting.
I think the opening's brilliant. Like to me, that's Resident Evil. Like the camera angles. Like I don't want to spoil it, but I will say this. Did you notice the stairs bit? Like that was phenomenally directed. It's just the tight corridors, the fixed camera angles. Like it's just tremendous. Like really, really enrapturing.
But I will say, like when you get further in and those bits, the sort of the really tight camera angles and tight corners and all that, become a bit of an issue because the controls are kind of shit.
But it's very heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it more the camera though that's shit?
No, because it's like it swaps cameras as you'd expect because it's supposed to be a bit more film like, you know, like so. But because it's that direct input, so like you're pressing right, your character moves right, that kind of thing. So when you change to another camera angle, you've then got to kind of move the stick in a different direction. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't register the input and it goes wherever it fucking wants. And when you use the right stick, that moves like the torch. That seems to have a mind of its own. Because I can't quite work out how that works. Because sometimes it's direct, so you know, left will point it towards the left side of the screen. Others, it's almost like the tank style control, where it's like you press left, they'll point it to their left, and it baffles me a little bit. It's a weird, like, I like it to a point. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Until Dawn though. Like the characters, they're all dicks basically. That's the way it seems.
I don't think the younger brother is. But you played more than me, to be fair.
He's not that. He's probably the most likable out of them. But that's not saying that much. I mean, like Sean Ashmore's character, you know, like the sort of the one that's like the poster boy for the game. Yeah. He's just a complete tool. He's
Bliss, is she?
She kind of gets that way.
Okay, I still want to play it. I'm still looking forward to getting back into it. I will find time for that game somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I do sound like I'm being incredibly down on the game. I do think it's still enjoyable. I do think that if you liked Until Dawn, you'll probably like this. You might be like me and not enjoy it as much. But, I mean, that could just be because Until Dawn was so good and it was sort of so unique at the time. And this, because it's not a carbon copy, but it's essentially a cut and paste of the control scheme and the gameplay into a new, a new story. and maybe it's just that it's kind of letting it down. And like I say, there's some performance issues as well. Like, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but now and again there's skipping sort of thing. You know, like the game will stutter slightly, and I don't know. I never had that on Until Dawn, but it could be because I
only played it on PS4 standard at the moment because I was capturing for the video review. So I haven't played it on the Pro, so I don't know. But
the Pro is. I know Mikhail's been playing it on the X, I think, and he says it's the same on that as well.
Okay.
So maybe it's something to do when it's in like the higher resolution with HDR and stuff, which, to be fair, spot on, looks gorgeous, you know. But yeah, it's just some performance issues, but I do think there is something there with that story. Like, I'm enjoying it to a point. I don't know whether it's going to be like Until Dawn and it'll make sense somewhere later on, but the narrator dude that you keep going back to, you know, like in Until Dawn, he was like a psychiatrist, wasn't it? It was Peter Stormare, is it?
Yeah.
The guy who always basically plays the crazy Russian guy or whatever in films. But yeah, like, it's like a similar idea, but it's this dude who's essentially just, he seems like he's the director or something. It's weird, but I don't quite understand why he's there yet. You know, I don't know whether it's going to be like a reveal later or not, but I'm kind of like, what are you? Who are you? Why am I talking to you? Why am I not just playing the game?
I think that's just the narrator. I think it's just these... I quite like that bit, actually.
It just feels weird. Like, it felt right in Until Dawn. I know I keep going back to Until Dawn, but I think
it's because this is the Dark Pictures anthology, so that they introduce him with this like sort of rock opera song playing, and it's like, you know, this is the guy that's going to be the constant throughout that anthology.
Yeah.
Like, whenever they announce the Dark Pictures anthology, and then whatever the second game's called, he will be the narrator of that. He's going to tell you those stories.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just sort of missing that. You know, maybe I'm just missing the point with that.
I mean, I would be stunned if I'm wrong that he is going to be the one that is the constant throughout.
Yeah, that would probably make sense. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, if you enjoyed Until Dawn, you're going to enjoy this. But just sort of be forewarned that the story's not quite as engaging and the characters aren't as likable. I know there were some terrible characters in Until Dawn, but there was a lot of good ones in there. And you wanted people to survive. Whereas this one, I'm kind of like, yeah, go on, kill him, go on.
Okay, you know? I'm not there yet. Well, before we get to listen to correspondence, I want to talk about Catherine Full Body, which sounds weird when you say that out loud, but this is a remaster of a PS3, Xbox 360 genre game that I loved. I don't know if either of you played, but I loved it.
I played a little bit of it. It's not. I can see why people enjoy it, but it's not my kind of game.
You see, that's...
And I'll just quickly say that I forgot to mention that I have started this too, and I totally forgot that I am really bad at this game.
See, this is the thing, right? That the game's quite difficult. Now, it's a weird game, but I actually think it's quite a crossover game, because although it's an anime, essentially, like it's as anime as you're going to ever get.
Yeah.
It's also a really good puzzle game, and so people who like puzzle games and stories could be drawn into the anime style. It's almost like the gateway drug, and it's still brilliant. Like, the story's brilliant, but what they've done is they've added like a third Catherine. Okay, so it's not a love triangle; it's a love square now. This is what they say, and they've not just. I'm quite impressed, actually, because they say they've updated the visuals and it looks better. I'll be honest with you, I'm not seeing that. But they have added cutscenes that were not there. So it to the degree that it almost feels new to me until I hit a story beat. I'm like, I remember that. But there have been other bits where it's like, was this definitely not here before? And it's like, well, it can't have been, because that character wasn't in the game. But they've also added that character in the gameplay sections, like in the actual puzzle bits. There's elements of Rin, rather, like, involved in the puzzles. They've doubled the puzzle numbers. They've added an online version of the puzzle game, like the multiplayer, because it got hot with the esports scene, didn't it? With the kind of Evo I think they had Catherine one year, so they've actually added the whole online multiplayer, which is so cool, with rankings and stuff. But like, generally speaking, I just think it's weird, because he's Vincent, who you play as, is like he's in his 30s, I think. I don't think they ever tell you, but I think he's in his 30s. Which I am. But even when it first came out 8 years ago, it felt like a story that it's like, I understand this. It's not that you like or dislike him. It's that you kind of feel for him. Like, he's in this situation where he's been with a girl for a long time and she wants to get married. She's a career-driven woman, and he's kind of like, he has got a job, but he's kind of a drifter. He lives in looks like a one-bedroom apartment, and he just wants to kind of cruise through his life. But she wants to get married, go up in her career, have children, and she's kind of giving Vincent an ultimatum, like, I want to move on with our lives, and he just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't want to lose her, but he's not sure if he's ready, and a lot of the game is about that. And then the other Catherine comes in, and I'm not going to spoil the story, but
it's a mental game.
it's absolutely batshit, but it's
like, that story is mental, I think.
But it's also like it looks good. The voice acting's crazy. It shocks me that they got, like, I think it's Troy Baker back to do new voice stuff for this game. Like,
did they? Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and Ashley. Oh God, what's her name?
Birch. Ashley Birch.
Yes,
the one who was Aloy.
I think so. I'm stalling because I wrote the name. I put the names in my review, and I'm reading my review that I've.
Oh, is it Ashley Johnson?
No, sorry, it's Troy Baker who plays Vincent, and Catherine is Laura Bailey.
Ah, okay.
So, like, there's two big names.
Yeah, because I mean, Laura Bailey's she's the Kate, isn't she, in Gears?
Yeah, I think so. But that's like back then when this game came out in 2012. It was about 8 years ago. Back when this game came out, they were big names, but they weren't big names. And now, like Troy Baker, this is 2012, so they are massive names now, and it's kind of amazing. Makes me wonder if it was like a labour of love project for them as well, or unless they wrote something into their contract for DLC. I don't know, but whatever happens, they're back, and these cutscenes don't feel like they've been shoehorned in. It feels like the game was always like this, which is a really weird thing to do when, like me, you've got a shit memory, and you think, hang on, I thought I remembered this game, but you know what I mean? It's a really weird thing. It's a tremendous game, and I kind of really hope this time around more people play it, because it always did well with critics, but now it's like the full package, the full body, and it's just an excellent, unique, weird game, and I desperately hope people give it a chance. I think there's a demo of it, actually.
Yeah, there is.
I hope people try it, because it's
probably the opening puzzle.
It's just so weird, man. Is that what it is? Opening puzzle. It's just such a weird.
I think it is. Yeah, it is. It is super weird. I just am bad at it, and just the puzzles stress me.
So that's one of the things they've added, though, mate. You can actually, I forget what it's called, safe mode, I think, where you can literally just skip the puzzles and see the story and play the story, which is a nice thing to add.
Yeah. I felt when I started it that I know it's Atlas as well, but it does have a really strong Persona 5.
It's got style, hasn't it? Well, I think Persona 5. I think now I played this again. I think they actually nicked some of the stuff from this for the style.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's got some style about it.
Yeah, I look forward to playing more. But man, there we go. Like, it's just someone has pressed that accelerator. We are just going to be landing, and Link's Awakening is out so soon.
Yeah, Damon Ex Machina, or Damon Cross Machina. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah. I think it's Demon.
Soon. Demon.
Like, it's like the old world style of spelling or something.
Okay, well, that's out soon. Yeah, Link's Awakening, the Switch Lite, the Genesis Mini in October. There's a lot still to come. FIFA, PES,
Gears. The week this goes live, Gears will be out end of the week. Well, at least like the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah,
it's just like
which most people seem to have.
Well, that's it. They will, only because most people went for the Game Pass Ultimate thing. You know, the £1 thing. If not, I want to say it's like £2 for the first 2 months or something like that at the minute.
Might be.
So,
but I think a lot of people will be playing Gears 5.
Yes, absolutely. I will. I mean, like, I'm not a huge Gears fan, but I've enjoyed every single one of them. You know, I've played them all, I've enjoyed them all. So I'm like, I want to see more. You know, I
think our audience knows how I feel about Gears.
Even to be fair, anyone listening heard earlier on that you kind of.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready for Gears. I liked 4. I'm ready for 5. Listener correspondence. Steve Chambers has a question for us, and then it's the Thomas. Well, it's the Thomas hour. It won't be an hour, but it's the Thomas listener correspondence, sponsored by Thomas at Llama Fluff. He's not sponsoring us, but he may as well be. Steve Chambers at G-Town Steve says, "All right, guys, quick question for the podcast. We've all bought expensive limited edition games with silly extras, Master Chief helmet, for example. But which is your biggest regret, and which do you still love dearly? Cheers, dudes. Amazing show. Thank you very much, Steve. Adam, what limited edition? What's your biggest regret, and which do you still love?"
My biggest regret, and it's just because of how disappointing it was, Batman Arkham Asylum. That came with the... It came with that.
I have that somewhere too. This came with
Yep,
the Batman
I do.
statue. Arkham City.
No,
that
was
the one with the Batarang in it, which is
the Batarang that was made of plastic and it scratched like with a compass or something.
Yeah, I mean, as we speak, it is above and behind me on a shelf.
Yeah.
Even though I don't own a PS3 anymore, it is the PS3 version. It's still there.
Yeah, like, it was tragic. I do vividly remember going in the day for it, so excited, grabbed the thing and looked at it and went, look at it. And I took off the plastic and took it out and I just went, that is so poor. And there's nothing more upsetting when you've turfed out the money, but you're like, hey, look, I still have the game. The game was just phenomenal anyway, we all know that.
Yeah.
But very disappointing collector's edition. I just thought it was just rubbish. And then, like, I never actually got the Arkham Knight one because I can't remember.
I've got Arkham
but
City, which is a Batman statue.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Which I don't know where I've put, actually. Now I've got a bit of space to put that on the shelves and that. I must find that. It can finally come out of the plastic case.
What was the Arkham Knight one?
Wasn't it the car?
It was that was it. It was supposed to be a car or a statue. It was like the Batmobile, or I think maybe possibly a canker, but just a statue of Batman or something. And I think it got cancelled. It got cancelled anyway when I was working in GameStop, and I had it all ordered. And
I remember that now.
It wasn't coming over here. It was just like, America, we're getting it, and that was it. And I was like, that is soul destroying because it looked cracking. But yeah, so that one's my poorest, probably my favourite. And I know people don't really like the statue as much, but I do. I think the paint job is a bit off in the face, but I love The Witcher 3. That was just one of those ones that when I bought it, I just couldn't believe the size of it, and I was like, this is humongous.
Yeah.
Took it out, and then like opening the box to all the CD Projekt Red signatures inside, like that was a really lovely touch. The statue, the medallion, all these things that I'm never going to wear, but you know, as a Witcher fan, it was just like it was cracking, really good. So they're my two.
What about you, Gaz? Any regrets or ones you still love?
I'm not sure about regrets. I don't think I've got any that I regret buying. I regret not being able to get hold of the Uncharted 2 one. That was one that I really wanted. So, which is,
I do think of that as well.
I suppose I regret selling my Uncharted 3 one, but I had to at the time, money, stuff. But the one that I think I still love is my Darksiders 2 one, which has the death mask one. That's really nice. Skyrim one, I still have that. And that was a really good one. Yeah, like not just like the statue's good enough, but the art book that you got with it was really nice and stuff as well. So, yeah, those two are ones that I definitely I still own and I still love. Yeah, just not sure about. I don't think I've got any regrets as such for ones that I've bought and were bad.
So I think I can think of two regrets, but mainly because I didn't buy them. The Horizon Zero Dawn one kills me. I couldn't afford it even if they did a rerun of them. I kills me. I don't have that because that game I love so much. Yeah. And I regret I didn't order the Link's Awakening Switch, the Switch version, the limited edition of them, because the steel box is a Game Boy.
Yeah,
thing in it.
I'm amazed you didn't go for it.
I can't really afford it at the moment, and that's not me moaning or asking for donations. I just I can't. Ones I still love dearly. I still love the Nier Automata one. Like that little statue is just.
Yeah, I remember you unboxing it, and you know, I'm not a fan of that game, but that statue that looked like a really high quality statue.
It's not like top quality, but it's good. But it's just a case of even though the game sold really well, and even though it reviewed really well, even though everyone loves it, apart from Gary, but we're not here to talk about that, I still feel like it doesn't exist almost. And sometimes just seeing that on the top of my shelving unit is like, oh yeah, that game's good. And I still love the Gears one, the God of War one, the new one. I love that. Because again, that game, those two are game of the generation challenges for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got a Witcher 2 PC collector's edition thing that I really like. I don't know why. It's nothing special. Yeah, I don't. It's not particularly like, oh wow, look at this. I'm literally looking at the stuff I've displayed because I'm guessing that must be the stuff I like the most. Most of it's amiibo, but yeah, I really like that one. I really like that one.
I have to say I regret not getting the Horizon Zero
Yeah,
Dawn.
I know. Yeah, I know you do as well. Like I've got a lot of stuff based on that game, but yeah, hopefully they'll announce a second game.
I do have
PS5.
It's not game related, but I did buy the collector's edition of Jurassic World on Blu-ray, which came with like the T-Rex and the other one. I forget what it's called. The big enemy one in the film.
Okay.
As bookends, like big statue bookends, and it's really nice. Just thought I'd get that out there as well. It's not game related, but it's one I really do love.
Right. Okay, fair enough. We've got some questions from Thomas. Let's start with this one. I think this one's going to get less of a reaction than he thinks, but let's go with it. Would you have a better diet if self-scan tills didn't exist? It's too easy to scan your basket of shame, chocolate, crisps, Haribo and more crisps, when you don't have another human eyeballing your purchases with a mixture of contempt and disgust. Now, does he mean like when you go into Tesco or Sainsbury's and you can walk around scanning your stuff as you go, or just the self-checkout ones?
Yeah, I think it just means the self-checkout. Whereas I just, to be fair, I just don't care. Like, if they can look at me however much content they want, it's like, if I want to eat fucking chocolate, motherfucker, I'm going to eat chocolate.
He has a point, right? Because sometimes in the evening you're like, you know what, I want a big bag of crisps, I want a big bar of chocolate, and I want something chewy, sweety wise, and a big bag of that. And sometimes you buy that in a shop, and there's just about a part of me that's like, I bet he's fucking judging me now, but I don't care. I still buy it. So I don't think it changes. I mean, I kind of palm it off on the kids, like as we go to pick up, like, here you go, here, you can carry the chocolate, and as if it's getting shared, basically, when it isn't. What do you think, Adam?
I think the only time I ever do that, and I kind of go, Jesus, I hope they know that I'm going to the cinema. Like, that's...
So you do care.
Like, well, yeah, because it's kind of like, well, when I go to the cinema, I'm getting the worst of the worst, and then, like, I look behind me, and there's some, like, I don't know, some bodybuilder person, and they're just having veg and loads of, like, chocolate milk and eggs, and I'm just there with, like, jellies and M&Ms.
I mean,
I could
can tell
that,
you.
Oh,
go on.
Like, there were times, like, this is going back a while, where me and a friend that used to go to cinema with quite a lot, we'd go in with, like, Burger King and shit into the cinema. We'd be sat there with fucking dirty, greasy burgers, stinking the place out, and we'd just be like, I don't care, fuck you, we're eating this.
Yeah,
it was great. Terrible.
I did that once.
Great.
Like, sometimes I used to bring in, like, foot-long Subways. They were very messy.
I think we did
cinema.
that actually once, yeah.
Yeah, but when I was really small, and when I used to go to the cinema with my parents, I used to never get sweets. I used to only get, like, a litre of milk and a sandwich. And it was just like a really smelly cheese sandwich into the hot cinema, and I just eat it away. That's what I used to always want when I went to the movies.
The thing is, I can tell you that I think the cashier does judge you. And the reason I know this is because I used to work in a shop, and and this is well over 20 years ago, but I still remember to this day, the day in this convenience store I worked in, a man came in the evening, and he bought a porn mag and Lucozade energy sweets. And
Lucozade energy. Jesus, he wanted to go for the night.
and I remember to this day, you know, you used to get people all the time like hiding a porn mag inside a newspaper and hoping you wouldn't find it. And occasionally one would fall out, and you're like, now come on, don't listen. No need to be ashamed. But the guy buying a porn mag, and I think it was 2 porn mags actually, and the Lucozade energy sweets. It was like, I want to be him in a way, because he does not care what I think, because if you're going for a marathon like that, like you might buy the mags and I don't know, something to hide them in on your way out, but you then go and buy those energy sweets or energy drinks from a different shop. But he didn't care. I think he wanted me to know that he was going home to do the business, and that's
And he
fine.
wanted you to come.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
No, that's maybe
I'm
why
just
he was
saying-
asking you
I'm
up on a
just saying
date.
That I think people remember stuff like that. So if you're the guy that always goes and buys all that chocolate, crisps, and sweets, Gary, then maybe vary up which shop you go to, because they'll be talking about you on a podcast in 20 years' time. He says as well, with simulator games like Goat Simulator, Farming Simulator, and Kojima's forthcoming Piss Simulator being a thing, what gameplay mechanics would a simulator of your life have? Imagine a Gary simulator. So much vanilla. Press X to unleash opinions.
I think
Gary's just... Yeah.
my gameplay mechanics would just be crying in a corner.
How would that be like quantum, like
Press
heavy
X.
rain or something? Like you use the motion controls and you hold down the right trigger, square X, circle around the left stick, and that's just the left eye crying. Okay, Adam, what would yours be?
I've absolutely no idea. I honestly cannot think of what. No, I don't know.
Wouldn't it just be like going to the cinema? That kind of thing. Just
Going to
cinema
the
simulator.
A cinema simulator. Wait, what? I just walk to the cinema and sit down. And that's it.
Yeah. You have to You have to sit there and
suppose
watch the film, then you have to walk out, and then it flicks to the next day, and you do the same.
I mean, it
thing.
seems.
Or the
seems to me
next
Adam's
week,
would
can
be
now.
food, like some sort of food-related simulator.
Is there a collector's edition of that simulator?
Yeah, there
Of just
is,
me
yeah.
sitting in a chair at the cinema.
Yeah.
That's the statue. Mine
Yeah.
would be tiredness simulator, I think. Like basically the entire. Do you remember those old track and field games where you just have to like
Yeah.
whack X and circle or whatever, just over and over to keep yourself running? It'd be the same thing, but it would be to keep my eyes open. Like you'd just be throttling the hell out of the X and circle button on your PS4 pad to just keep my eyes open. It's not exciting, but that's what it would be.
It's your simulator.
That's
You
a
do what
simulator.
you want.
Yeah, but that's what it. Well, all right, fine. It would be. No, that's what it'd be. I'm not ambitious,
Yeah.
really, am I?
That's perfect.
He wants to know: is there a reflex behaviour or reaction you cannot suppress? He asks us not to be rude. He says, for example, has a man ever walked into a public or work bathroom, found all the stalls occupied, and not done the unnecessary hand wash to justify being there before walking out? I don't think I've ever done that.
No, I've not done that.
What reflex behaviour can you not suppress? I don't think I've got any.
I genuinely don't know this one.
Are we just talking about
if I go
habits like?
into
Yeah.
if I go into a public bathroom or like a work bathroom and I need a poo, I won't do it if someone else is in there. I'll wait until I've heard them wash their hands and leave the room, and it's like, right, now it's go time, business end now. I don't want them to, because the thing is, I still find farts funny. I think I always will. So if I sit
Yeah,
down,
but-
well,
if I
if
sit
you're-
down and I sort of hear someone start plopping next to me in the stall, I'll start chuckling.
Yeah, there's always that little bit of sort of childishness in you, because it's like when you go.
Of course there is.
Yeah, you've been in a public toilet and you've heard someone fart as they're taking a shit or whatever, and you just kind of like, you can't help it. You can't help it. It's
Just some people don't have any of those kind of. They haven't got a problem. They're going there to do it, and they don't care.
I know.
And-
They're heroes.
Yeah,
they're
but
the,
the
they're
thing
the
is
real Avengers.
That's what makes me laugh, because you hear like you hear the trousers, because you're silent, because you're waiting, and you're like, oh God, I need to go, but I'm not doing it, and you hear the trousers unzip, and then they go down behind by their waist, and then you hear like the. And then you hear like the, you hear all the splashes, and then sometimes, if I've managed to hold it together, what will do me is I'll hear, or something, and it's like, that's it done, because he needed that, and I understand, but you need to finish, wash, and get out, because I have to go.
yeah.
I just think it's, I don't know why.
So let me just put it right. Not like, I think it was only like a week ago this happened, whatever. I was out in my local town in a pub, and went into the toilet, and I went to the urinal, and this is just basically talking about these
just to
kind
be
of people.
clear, you're urinating in the urinal.
Yes.
Okay,
And,
I just wanted to be absolutely clear on that.
But this is kind of like summing up, like both being a child still, and then these heroes coming in, doing their thing and not giving a fuck. And like the thing was, I came in and there was a few urinals. I'm there, do my business, door opens, and this dude comes up like right next to me, the exact same, like the urinal right next to me, and I'm like, dude, they're like all over there. Why are you right next to me? Like, you're like, come on. And like I'm looking straight ahead at just the wall, and I hear him getting prepared, and all of a sudden, then it's like, he does this, and then both hands extend and just he flat hands himself against the wall, so he is just freeing the fuck out of himself. He is just like,
I've done that, mate. Sorry.
This is what I mean, like, right? So he's going for it, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ, this fella's making himself feel comfortable. And then he just goes a little bit farther. And this bathroom was actually it was pretty quiet. There was nobody around. It was just two of us. You could hear the belts. You could hear your belt rickling around the place. And he fucking lets off the biggest trump I've ever heard, right? It was like the horn of the Titanic or something. It was just woo.
Fantastic.
And I'm fucking standing there, just finishing up, and I just immediately laugh. Yep. I immediately laugh out loud, right? And he turns to me and goes, fuck it, that was a big one, wasn't it? And I was like, Jesus Christ, I need to leave. But these kind of people,
superb.
They're so funny. They're so funny.
It happened. That sort of thing happened to me in hospitable places. Like anyone listening to this by now knows I had a heart attack, but I was not in any mood to laugh. Like, there's nothing funny about it at the time. When it's happening to you, you're sat in a hospital bed and you're like, okay, there's just nothing funny about this. And so I'd had my operation. I knew I was going to live, sort of thing, but I was still just not in the mood to laugh at all because, again, I was younger than I am now, a lot younger. It wasn't funny. It's funny now, of course. We can all joke about it. But since the curtains are drawn around you, and I'm, again, that sort of thing that happens generally, not always, but generally speaking, certainly where I live, happens to the older generation. So the curtains are all being pulled round, and all of a sudden you just start hearing them. And it's like they must know we can hear them because it's just a hospital cubicle with a curtain round it. But one by one, like the frog chorus, they're all just going. And finally I laughed and I felt a little bit better because they were all just... and it was like the lights off and it was just like... but they've been waiting for the nurses to go. And I was just sat there, like I say, the frog chorus of flatulence. And it was just like... I think I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, it's fucking so funny. There's no denying it. It is the most contagious thing. Like, if you don't laugh at someone doing something like that, you are definitely the fucking Antichrist. Like,
farts are funny.
You're crazy if you ain't laughing.
Yep. And that seems like a beautiful way to end the podcast. If you ain't laughing to this podcast, I don't know what to tell you. Adam, Gary, it's been a pleasure as always, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that people should go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, where for $1 or £1 a month they get this podcast much earlier than everyone else who gets it on a Wednesday. That's not to say we don't love you if you only listen on a Wednesday. That's fine too, but going there and giving us that support, financial support, really does help us. We get to go to preview events, we get to travel, buy equipment that gets us more of the video reviews you've been seeing lately. It all adds up, and even £1, genuinely, I know how many people listen to this podcast, and if even half of them give us £1 a month to get it early, we'd be laughing. Well, not laughing, that sounds crass. You know what I mean? We'd be very happy. Adam, Gary, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody else, go and buy Gary's perfume. It's called Ambiance. And we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye for now.